Hello and welcome to the TT Podcast. This is the podcast where we talk to one person from the world of the TT racers to discuss their lives, their journeys, their ambitions and their relationship with the greatest motorsporting event in the world. I'm Chris Pritchard and with me is Steve Plater. Steve, what great feedback we had from episode 1, but episode 2, we have the man.
The main man, obviously John McGuinness. Now, as we're all very aware, John's not scared of telling us the truth, what's going on. He's got some big news, and various things going on in his life. So it's going to be, as usual, an interesting chat.
Now, you've raced with John McGuinness in the past. Do you have any insight, any anecdotes or stories that maybe he'll keep to himself?
Every man in the paddock has got a story about John McGuinness.
He's
such a character, he really is. And that's why he attracts so many people, not just on trackside, but chat shows, podcasts, anything. Yes, I've got plenty of stories. We've been teammates. We've raced on the roads, on the short circuit, on the World Endurance. And the boy's a character, and I'm really looking forward to asking him one or two difficult questions.
Brilliant. Let's get into it. For today's episode of the TT Podcast, we are joined by John McGuinness MBE. Now, it's hard to quantify this man's achievements at the Isle of Man TT races, but I'm going to try my best. Today, he has 99 race starts, stood on the podium 47 separate occasions, and taken 23 race wins across 9 different classes, with a hat-trick of victories on 2 separate occasions. He's set new outright TT lap records on no less than 12 occasions, and nobody has completed more laps in excess of 120 or 125 miles an hour than he has. He was the first man to lap the TT course at an average speed in excess of 128 miles an hour, 129, 130 and 131 miles an hour. And if that wasn't enough, 2022 will mark his 27th year as a TT racer. And yet, despite this pedigree, the extraordinary facts and figures, and his unquestionable ability to ride a bike, he is still a regular, down-to-earth bloke from a seaside town in Lancashire, a family man whose wife, Becky, and kids, Ewan and Maisie, are by his side for every step. It's a journey that goes all the way back to 1982 with a 10-year-old boy sat watching the likes of Joey Dunlop, Mick Grant and Ron Haslam. 40 years later, he's unquestionably one of the sport's biggest ever stars. His name is now synonymous with the world's greatest motorsporting event, and this year he will line up on Glencrutchery Road to start his 100th TT race start. Bike racing with the manufacturer that he has enjoyed so much success with. What a long-winded intro, but well worth every second of it. John McGuinness, welcome to the TT Podcast. You all right?
3 minutes and 10-second intro. I hope Peter Hickman's wasn't as long as that. But,
I don't think anyone's will be. You're right.
Fantastic, yeah. Cool. You're the only person all year who's said MBE as well. A lot of people forgot about that, but I'm going to take that one as well.
You
MBE.
should do.
Yeah, no, it's mega. Do you know, I'm fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. I've had a great year. Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed riding in that Ducati Cup. Ran our own little team, a family team. You know, we finished in the top 5 in the championship, a few podiums, and, everything's... coming together again, we've all had a rough time, haven't we, over the last couple of years, and like now all the sort of planets are lining up again, and I'm really, really happy to be back, sort of maybe where I belong, or maybe not where I belong, I don't know, but where I've had a lot of success. So it's all come together, and really looking forward to getting my teeth into all the testing and riding. And is it 183 days or something? Clive Paget told me. I was on the phone to him the other day. It's about 180 something days away, and we'll be going.
It's not far then.
It's not far. No, it'll soon be around.
It is. Blooming hell. Right. One question that we're going to ask every rider that comes into this. You've been through the paddock. Bike's been wheeled up to Glencrutchery Road. You've jumped on it. You've started it up. You've rolled yourself down to the start marshal. He's about to tap you on the shoulder. What's going through your head in that moment?
Well, to be fair, there's lots going through my head. It's like not like is the back wheel not tight, and like it's like have I done everything I can? Is the bike set up best I can? I sort of paddle my way through, and I always try and pick the family out as well if I can. Mrs. is normally, Ewan's old enough now to be on the road, so Mrs. and Ewan, and then Maisie my daughter will be up in the grandstand, so I make sure I just get eye contact with them, and then the heart's just pounding out of your chest. The TV helicopters above you, the atmosphere is absolutely off the scale. And it's I wouldn't have said it was the greatest feeling. It's a very special feeling. Not many people get to do it. It's there's a lot of people want to do it, a lot of people talk about doing it, and there's a lot of people stood at the pub saying they want to be this, that and the other and a TT rider, but to actually do it, get your licence and be stood there with a TT entry and have the old boy got hold of your shoulder and he's got hold of your tight until that flag drops and away you go.
So even after 99 TT starts, don't get any easier, it's still the same feeling?
No. Doesn't get any easier for me, honestly. It starts way before just going through in that little winner's enclosure, the little enclosure thing, and it's the last little bit as well. There's not really anybody in there. There's normally a TV camera or something, but there's no mechanics, there's no family. It's just you. You just sort of walk your way up to the start through the little archway, and it's full concentration on that crazy little Manx flag thing. When that moves a millimetre, you're away, and then everything just it's full concentration, but. I lay in bed, I can't eat, I'm nervous, and the night before, I do think about it a lot. Many days go by that I don't think about, well, there isn't, I don't think, about the TT, and, leading up to practice and through practice, and, I sort of put a lot of pressure on myself as well, or I have done in the past. I've always really wanted to win TTs, and especially those big bike races, and I always stick a lot of pressure on my shoulder, and, I want to win, so, I don't really say much to anybody, I just try and channel my focus into my inner self, and then once we've gone, it's up to me then.
Do you think you put more pressure on yourself nowadays with the amount you've achieved than you did back in the day, or not?
Maybe I'm probably a little bit more nervous, not so much pressure, because I've had all the pressure. I've had the 100 start, the 100 years of it, and all the pressure of being a factory Honda rider and Yamaha rider and those electric bikes and all the effort that goes in. But now I'm getting a little bit longer in the tooth. I just hope that I'm still okay to do it.
Yeah.
I still 50. I'll be 50 years old on the start line, and sort of hope I don't embarrass myself a bit. Really, it's not so much pressure as in I've got to deliver. I just don't want to sort of make a fool of myself. I probably won't do, but I just feels that way. If you know what I mean. I get to my age, and it's.
Yeah,
I still want to win. That's the thing, but whether it's possible to do that, I don't know. I just followed Hickey into here, keep looking at him. He's younger, he's probably a bit fitter, and he's not as good looking, obviously.
Clearly.
But it's he's a man to beat. But I keep saying it, and I can only do my best. I can only do what I do, and if I hit all the apexes and do the best I can't see me being a million miles away.
I'm going to come in with a technical question first of all. Who the flipping heck decides to give people MBEs? Have you got
I think
it
it's
yet?
the gaffer.
Have you
it's
got
the gaffer,
it?
that little lady down south. I think she has the final call on it.
I thought if you collected enough vouchers in some cornflakes, you could apply for one.
Do you know what? I think I might have missed it because there's been a lot going on, and I keep looking on Twitter and Insta, and everybody's getting theirs, and I haven't got mine. But I think I might have missed an email somewhere on the invite down there. So my missus is
I know you never answer your phone, you never answer emails. That's maybe the problem.
I'm old school. My emails just, I look at them, I'll just, I'll be reading, but then it's anything that comes with anything to do with MBE, it's one of them gov ones, or like, and if it's got like a magistrate on it, it's normally a tax bill or something, so I just tend to swipe that one to the left. But it's been a long-winded thing. I mean, I don't know if I'm allowed to, but yeah, there's a bloke, he doesn't like his name being mentioned, but a good friend of mine who's been around a long time, he's nominated me for an MBE, and he's been chipping away and building up a portfolio of what I've done, what I've achieved, and has to go there and backwards and forwards, and Prime Minister has to read it. And I've got this lovely package, and it's all loads of letters from the Lieutenant Governor of the Isle of Man has said a few nice words, and some of my old bosses have said a few words. Not Neil Tuxford, by the way. He missed out. He's your old boss and all. He was supposed to say a few words about it, but he's forgotten to say it. So I don't know. He must have not been in his good books. But it's a real cool thing to get. I didn't have a clue. I got some government emails, and one of them was that I'm on the New Year's honours list. And Becky, my missus, is going, have you had an email? Have you had an email? Because she knew it was coming, but she's not allowed to say anything because you're not allowed to know. Here's an email off. I'm like, what are you on about? And then I had a route through, and I think I deleted it, and then it come up, and that was on New Year's Honours list. Yeah, dead proud moment. Cool, really nice. Mum, dad, chuffed to bits. All my family are over the moon about it, and it's a nice little bit of cherry on the top, isn't it? A little bit of icing on the top of the cake.
I know it's going to sound like I'm blowing smoke up his arse, but come on, honestly, he thoroughly deserves it, right, Steve? You've got to say something. You've got to be nice to him.
Please,
moving on.
He'll never say it, will he? He won't say it.
Well, I'll say it.
I know, of course. What an ambassador. For you, John, looking ahead, Honda, back with them. How did all that come about?
Well, to be honest, all the way through lockdown, if you like, and through this pandemic, they've been in touch with me, if you like. They've just been asking me quietly away. Are you okay? How's the family? And what are you up to? And it's quite a complicated thing. I've touched base on it slightly, but it's quite hard to understand. But I work for Honda Europe, and then Honda UK, who was going to run the TT for 2022. It's a different company. They're all under the same roof, but it's a different company. So the Honda UK, Honda Europe have disbanded now. So Honda UK have been in touch with me, and my old bosses, old Bob McMillan, Dave Hancock, all these guys. They've been in touch with me, nibbling away, and I've always kept in touch with them. And I've said to them, what do you reckon? Shall I go back? And Harvey Beltran, the team boss there, has been sort of chipping away at me as well. And it just seemed to be the right thing to do, the natural thing to do. I'm 50-year-old. There's 30 years of the Fireblade, 100 start. MBE, new set of teeth. Everything's looking good. So.
It must have been a lucrative contract you've signed, because obviously $5,000 on your teeth. Nobody does that every day of the week, do they?
$3,000. It cost me $3,000, and I was ill with that. But I said, I'll get them done if you throw the whitening kit in. So whitening kit was £350, so I got that bunged in on deal.
Why does that not surprise me?
Do you know what? I had to walk out. I had to walk out with them bags. It comes in with them. I don't know, like a boutique bag thing. I was so embarrassed walking out. I was like, I wanted it to be in a spa bag so nobody could see what it was. But yeah, do you know what? Best thing I've done? So, joking apart, piss taking apart, honestly, I've had pretty average teeth for a lot of years, and I'm just so much more confident to smile now. And, a few of the rotten ones have come out as well. They made me have bad breath, so the whole job's looking up. So yeah, not saying new contract, new teeth, MBE, job's on fire. I just need to lose a bit of timber and we'll be away. But yeah, a lot of people say it's the money or whatever, it's this, that, and the other, but they've come up with a package for me that can be, it's a 2-year deal. If I want to race, I can race. If I don't race, I can do some ambassador stuff for them, and it just guaranteed the work, guaranteed your wages. I got my trousers pulled down a bit at the 12th hour by Norton. It's they owe me a few quid, and but I'm not bothered. I don't care. You know what I mean? It was an experience. It was part of the journey. It was Hollywood. Silver bike, etc. Everybody wanted me to do well on it. I was so embarrassed about everything that went on with that deal. I felt like I'd let all my sponsors down, let all my fans down. I sold Norton t-shirts and all sorts of things, and things just dropped to bits around me. But I didn't really want to go through any of that anymore. I need to go back to what I know, the same environment, and I've always been like that. I've never been here, there, and everywhere. I've worn the same helmets for 16 years, and I've been with Scott Leathers and Alpine staff for all my career. So it's I like the stability, I like the loyalty, I like everything about where we're going to go back to. And it'll be good. All the boxes will be ticked, and it'll be good products. And there's no point going back to what happened in 2017. We know what happened there. It was documented that it was an ECU alter blipper problem. I had my accident. Time's healed it. Water's gone under the bridge, and it's a clean sheet of paper and crack on.
Did you not think at any point you're going to call it a day then? Because you're talking like like Hickey or Dean Harrison. Like you're in for a 2-year deal. You're committing to it, and you want to go and be competitive there.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I never thought about packing in, because if I should have packed in, if I was going to pack in, the best time to pack in would have been the end of 2015 when I won that senior. It was take a bow and walk away. But I went back there in 16. I loved it. I really, really enjoyed 2016. I didn't win I'm not sure I don't think I won a race, but I had a couple of podiums on the superbike. But there was feelings there that I that you can't put into words. I'd ridden the race. I'd done 132.7. I'd gone wheel to wheel with Michael Dunlop and Ian Hutchinson. The weather was good, bike was handling good, and that was what it's all about, enjoying around the bike. And I crossed the line third, I shook their hands, them two were having a bit of a barney about, there was all sorts going on in the press conference, and it's the only place in the world where somebody will hand you a bottle of Corona beer, an F1 press conference, there ain't no beer swilling around and stuff, and there's not two lads having an argument about what engines they had in, and I don't know the full details, but somebody just said, "Hey John, do you want a beer?" I said, "Bloody right I do." I was sat there sweating, red hot, beautiful, it was fantastic.
Living the dream.
It was amazing. Then 17 we know, 18 I was still injured, 19 we had to go with the Norton, and there's no way I want to finish racing at the TT with a broken engine bolt at the bungalow. And that's basically where we were. I thought, Jesus, after all the things I've done, I'm stood up here at the bungalow with a broken bike. I thought, nah, it's just not how I visualised it. I walk across the line and seeing you and take a bow, and I don't want to say this is my last, because if you always say that, it's the one that bites you. So I'm just going to do the same thing, tick the boxes, make sure I'm riding fit, all on the same page, family, mates, bosses, mechanics, and go and ride, and then we'll maybe make a decision after that. But if I've got to go around afterwards and go to a launch of a Honda scooter in Portugal and talk to the dealers and talk to the the press, I'm happy about that. I like that. I don't mind being stood at the bar at 2 o'clock in the morning talking shite about racing bikes through the years with a journalist, and there's not many people, again, no disrespect to anybody, but there's not really many people got the stories I have, the amount of teammates I've had, the amount of things we've been through, the World Endurance with Steve, the BSB, the Superbike, the World Supersport, so I can tell a story as well, so I can keep everything going, so, hopefully I can bring a little bit back afterwards when I hang my boots up,
So one thing you just mentioned there was not saying it's going to be your last one. Does that mean you're superstitious? Do you have superstitions as you're
I do,
approaching?
Yeah, I do, yeah. Not only with racing,
and
not that I wanted to either. Not that I set out to do. It's just some weird things happened over the years, and it's like the voodoo doll on the back of my helmet. And to be fair, it's a shit story, really. You know what I mean?
Go on.
How long have you got? Maybe I'll try and be brief. I went in 1999. I got my first helmet paint job. I thought, oh, this is nice. Usual pink squirrels and all. Everybody has their own little. And then I crashed in practice, wrote the helmet off. So I shared a garage with a bloke called Jack Silverman. It's boring, but bear with me. And I've no idea why or how, but he had 100 helmets painted in his garage. Bizarre. Of all his artifacts he has in his museums, Silverman museums. So it's based on a rug, my helmet, and then the voodoo doll warns of evil spirits. So big old Yank says to me, he said, bloody unlucky, I haven't got a Yank accent, but he's like, just take this helmet, racing this helmet. And I put it on a one Daytona 250 race. I thought, we'll have to carry on with this helmet now. So I won the British Championship, won my first TT, so that stayed with me.
It's like that grey and
it's like
white
a
colour
beige and blue. It's horrible, really, but it is super different. And the voodoo doll's always been on the back of my head. And then I remember Ewan, he'd be about 3 or 4 years old or something, 2004, maybe 3-year-old. He found a penny on the floor, and he said, "Yeah, Dad, that's a good luck penny." I was like, "Shit!" So I shoved it down my leathers. So I've always raced with a penny down my leathers. Yeah.
Is it always there when you get back?
Yeah, but sometimes it's up my arse crack or it ends up in all sorts of places.
But it's always there.
I've had imprint at Queen's Head on my arse cheeks before. An old.
Is that why you got your MBE?
Yeah, I meant not showing my ass, but
why am I picturing the scene?
I don't know.
It ends up in your boots and all sorts. But yeah, the pennies always come round on me since 2004. So I am a bit of a superstitious guy. I don't like to make predictions. I always like to think actions speak louder than words, and everybody's. People live on different ways, confidence, and how they need to motivate themselves and all that. I just build it up all inside myself and then just try and, fire it all into what I know into the race. But, we're going to have 6 races, aren't we? So 2 Superbike, 2 Supersport, plenty of practice, plenty of time to...
Is that what you're going to be entering 22?
Yep, 2022, we've got 2 Superbike races, 2 Superstock, haven't we, and 2 Supersport. The Supersport thing, there's a little question mark over that. I'd like to run my own thing there. I would really like to run my own 600 thing. I've got my truck, and I've been using Robin Cross trailer to do that Ducati Cup. So I've got a bit of infrastructure now, a few bits, and You know, I don't know where my lad's going to go. Ewan, he's been on the spanners a little bit with us for the last couple of years, and he's done a work experience down at Louth as well over the last week. So, but it might be something for Ewan to think about. But I would like to do that. I'm quite proud of my Ducati thing last year. It all come together a bit stressful at times, but I'm not the most organised person in the world, but it all come together at the 12th hour, and we did all right. You know, it was good. Really enjoyed it, and but yeah, I'd like to do this, maybe do the 650, but I don't think Honda have a competitive bike, and now I'm Mr. Honda now, so it's cut me in half. I'll have to have Honda written through me, so I won't be allowed to ride anything else.
Talking to your family as well, they're as synonymous at the TT as pretty much you are. They've been there through thick and thin. Are they part of it all? Like, you couldn't do the TT without them?
No, I don't think so. No, I've never done any of my races. You know, the missus has been there for every single one.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, like I said, I've been together 32 years with her. So when I first started racing in 1990, you know, we're a new item.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done everything together, you know. So it's... but she's good. She's organises me. She makes me eat food because, you know, otherwise I'd be in pub and you want beer and you know what I mean. It's like you need structure. You need some sort of structure at TT. You know, you've got to go to bed early. You need your sleep, and you need good quality foods and that. Well, I'd be, you know, probably not eating correctly and things like that. So, you know, I've always been, you know, like a few years ago I had Jim Moody with me at the TT in 2004, and that was a big turning point for me. You know, he made me go to sleep and made me eat this and got me to the front of the queue for practice, and just, you know, made me concentrate really hard on it. And 50 weeks of the year when you can go to the pub, but there's only 2 weeks of the year where you can ride the TT, so it's full concentration. And the kids ground you as well. You know, like Ewan was only be 2 months old when he went to his first TT, you know, and now he's 20, so he's a big lad now, and he's been right through it, seeing a lot of the races, and he sort of understands it as well. And when he was younger, if I'd had a bad race and I come in, he didn't care. He's still playing with swords, and he was a little pirate at the time. And all of a sudden, you're like, well, do you know what? It doesn't really matter. You know, it's not the end of the world. And my daughter's involved now. She's 11, but she loves the travelling. You know, we did all that world endurance together. We always took them with us.
Yeah.
And they're great as well, because I could say to them now, I'll go to Japan in the morning, and be like, oh yeah, okay, no worries, and just pack the bag and go. They'd be sitting on a 12-hour flight. They've been to Australia to the races, and you know, I cherish a lot of that. There's all the moments are there. Sometimes it's hard. Some riders just don't want it. They can't cope with, you know, shitty nappies and screaming kids at 2 a.m. or whatever. But I just dealt with it. And I thought, there's no way they're not going to experience that journey with me. So, you know, they'll be there. You know, we've had a few fines off the school. The old school, you know, the old headmaster at Maisie's last school, he was just a dick, really. You know, he just did not get it. Yeah. In a lot of ways, I understood, you know, but
are they going to learn some lessons, though, aren't they?
I got fined
some of the world.
I got fined 140 quid to take her to Australia when she was 6 years old. You know, she was shearing sheep. She was up, you know, she was seeing the penguins come on at Phillip Island, and then went up to Queensland and Brisbane, all that. And I thought, well, that's not life lessons at 6-year-old. I'm giving in. Just paid the fine.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, just, whatever. But it was, we've had a few scrapes with the schools, but I wouldn't, no way I'd change anything.
No. So what about their foray into motorcycling? Do you kind of keep them separate from it? Is that competitive edge rubbing off on them? Do they want to get into it?
Ewan's into it now. My boy's into it. He's into the bikes big time now. He was all F1, he was all this and cars. But for a long time, no interest. No interest.
That's amazing,
and, like, there's always been, like, as he's grown up, Pee-wee 50 in the garage, I'm like...
Yeah.
You know, so... Can't see what I'm doing now on this podcast, but I'm sort of
not into
the bike. Like, fancy going that, and no, it's not really happened. Then there's been a quad, and you know, it's not. I didn't really want to be the mad dad and shove him on it, and but sometimes I think selfishly, I maybe should have introduced him to it somehow a bit more. And you know, it's always been about me, really. I've been the selfish one. It's all been about me and the racing. And sometimes have I left them out of it, you know? So. It's only recently I've thought that in the last couple of years. I'm like looking at him, he's 20. I think, you know, if I took him away from maybe
But he'd get
I'm
into
trying
it,
to put
wouldn't
into
he?
words. What do you think? He's nodding. Steve's nodding next to me as well. But
Yeah, well, I'm nodding, but you're talking a lot about the kids. What about Becky? What about the wife? How do you think she copes with it all? Your moods, your swings, your build up to the TT, especially, which is massive, I think, for you as well, because you're so passionate. It's your main goal annually, and it's something she has to put up with all year long.
Sure, well, she's a saint, isn't she? Really, you have your moments, don't you? But we just have been solid, I think. Really, there's been a couple of little ups and downs along the way, but you can't be with somebody for 30 years and not have a scrape here and there. But we have, and but we've always come back, and we're dead. We both was brought up on a council estate in Evesham, and we've achieved amazing things together. And I'm not. I'm going to say I'm not think I'm that bad to live with. Well, probably in her head I am. But it's just I want the best. I want the best for them. I want the best for the kids. I want to be able to, for them to be safe and secure. There's a lot of things that when they were born, you might stop racing now. Well, it made me more determined. It made me more determined to provide. It made me more determined to do better things and make them proud of me and be stronger and that Maisie come along and again it brought us even closer. Obviously, you think about the danger sides of it, but she never says anything.
So let's go back to the start. It's an illustrious career, a long career, all the way back in 1996. I'd just been born then, just to make you feel old.
Eh?
No, I'm kidding. But debuted in 96, first win in 99.
Massive year, 99, obviously British 250 champion as well as the roads and, really on song.
Yeah, 99 was the sort of turning point of my life, really. I don't like that career word. It's a weird word, that career. It's crap. I kind of call it my journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, careers, because you hear people talking about the career, never won anything. They say, in my career, what career do you have? But, 96, I was on the tools, and he's laughing again. Plater's laughing because he used to do a little bit of work, like me. But I didn't go to college. I did the full 3 years sitting in Guilds. Anyway, I was on the tools 96, 97, bricklayer, by the way, 98, part-time, 98, really. But then 99, I just down tools and went, again, professional, if you want to call it. But I wasn't professional. I was living on Becky's sofa. Great bike. I raced under the radar a little bit, really, at the TT. 96 was under the radar, 97 first podium, 98 was a big year for Honda. But again, I was sort of under the radar, rode a 500 and a 250 and things. And for me, at the TT, it was, if I don't win now, I'm never going to win one because I knew the track, I knew my 250, I was leading the British Championship, everything was lined up, and I remember going down Braille on it, and A-kit engine, I had a fantastic mechanic, Blandy was still in the sport, and I hit bottom of Braille, it just, wow, I thought, fuck, this thing is absolutely flying, it's on point, this thing, and it's like, now or never. And
can we just say as well, for recent TT fans, these are two strokes. They're not
2 strokes,
not 4 strokes. So.
Yeah, 2 strokes. So no laptops plugging in. It was all sort of reading barometers. And again, TT's difficult. You're climbing a mountain. You're at sea level a couple of times, and then so you need a good mechanic. But I had the best. I had the best bike. I'll hold my hand up with 100%. I was on the best bike. That Vimto 250 was outstanding.
Don't guarantee a win though, does it?
No. But that's what I'm saying. I was young. I was light. I was focused. I was, I had a couple of podiums at the TT.
22 years, who did you have to beat?
Well, Joey was in there. I think Joey moved from number 3 to number 12. He went a higher number, did Joey? I don't know if he might have been a little bit worried about me.
What number did you run?
4. I was number 4, I can remember I just lining up, Gavin Lee, Jason Griffiths, Owen McNally, 2 of them lads are not with us anymore. There was myself. Number 5 was my teammate, Dick Coates. He was an airline pilot. He was on my spare 250. It was Gary Dines. There was Ian Locker, James Courtney, Joey Dunlop. It was a bloody hard race to win. It was competitive, and there was a lot of good bikes around. But I won't say I was a smart ass, but I was confident sorting them day. I thought I'm gonna have to try and win this one, and I just got my head down. mint pit stop and away, and it was just amazing. I remember crossing the line, it was like a bit of anticlimax. I thought, what do I say now? And I got an interview, I just waffled an absolute load of crap, to be honest. And I look back at it and I'm so embarrassed, but a bit like relief as well, I was like, oh God, I've won one, this is my dream come true. But, it's like, I didn't know what to do, I didn't start crying, do a backflip, go nude down prom. I didn't know what to do, but, it was the start of it all. And, I rode the 500 in the senior 2-stroke, and 99 again, even outside the TT. Like I say, I won the British Championship, I won Daytona, I won Stars of Dali, I was on pole at Macau, broke down in the race in Macau, leading that race. Just like, it was amazing. And all of a sudden, there was a bit of prize money in the bank as well. I was like, whoa, I'd never seen 4 figures in my bank. It was always like note in there. So I'd met a few bob, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was fantastic,
And what, back from those days, like I said, that's 22 flipping years ago. But what's the biggest difference now on the modern machine? You're going from 2 strokes to 4 strokes around a TT course.
Well, I'll tell you what, I rode a 4-stroke for the first time in 97 at the TT and hated it. I rode a CBR 600 for a bloke called John Clucas from Garstang, near where I am. Gentleman, lovely bloke. Built me this new bike and I was pitiful on it. It's the only race I've ever finished where I didn't get a replica. I got a finisher's award. But yeah, I was 27th or something. But yeah, then it put me off him a little bit for a while. Then I rode my 500s there in 98 and 99. Then I first rode the 4-strokes was the SP1, being Joey Dunlop's teammate in 2000. But 4-strokes were just different. Didn't come out and bite you, and well, they did, but they didn't. It was just a different style, There was a lot of engine braking, a lot heavier, different characteristics, and it was time for me to move on and learn how to ride a 4-stroke, because I'd shied away from it a little bit too long. I should have, some of my regrets not that I've got many, but I should have moved on to the bigger bikes a bit earlier, when like Rutter did and a few others, and I stayed on my 250 in that for the British Championship for another year in 2000. I should have moved on, but yeah, the 4-strokes was where it was all going. All the kudos is in the superbike races, so I needed to be riding superbikes, and that's where 250 was great, but it was a little bit under the radar compared to the big bikes. But 2000 come along, and all of a sudden, I'm professional rider. I'm riding the factory Honda team. I got Joey Dunlop as a teammate. No pressure, my absolute all-time hero, and what a joy! It was just amazing. It was just everything had come true for me. It was. I watched him in 1986. Sorry, I watched him earlier than that, but when he ran the Rothmans Honda, I went and got a picture of him and bought it down the promenade. I used to buy pictures in the window of the prom, and I got him to sign it. I was there on my bicycle, I was on my BMX. I said, I'll stand on the podium with you one day, Joey. He just went, oh, fucking hell. That's about all he said, so I never understood a word he said. And then I reminded him in 97, it was 11 years later, I was on the podium with him on my Aprilia, 250 Aprilia. And I was like, oh, I told you to stand on the podium with you one day, Joey. And he went, fucking her. That was about all he heard. But yeah, and then I'm 3 years later, I'm his teammate. So yeah, it was amazing, really. First superbike podium, and understanding the 4-strokes, and that's again part of the job, part of the journey.
Did you ever think once you got that first win, you'd be looking at 23 TT wins eventually?
No chance. No, I didn't. I didn't know what to expect. I really didn't. It was just my dream job. It was just everything I ever wanted to do. I wanted to win races. Don't get me wrong. Everybody quietly wants to win one. And I was always on good bikes and good teams around me, so I had to deliver as well. There's a lot of expectation for you to win, and I wanted to win, but I'm sat here now at nearly 50, and if I just sort of say, how have I done it? I don't know. It's really weird, I've not had a magic wand. And what the scary bit is? It's gone that fast. Yeah, I bet. I could sit here all night and talk to you about every single race. I can remember every single one, from 125s, singles, 400 TTs, electric bike wins, all sorts of. But it's just year after year. 2001, just like, God, where's that gone? But still. The head is completely still focused on it. I look in the mirror and think, everything's going a bit south and that, but my head's just completely dialed into it. But never thought I'd win 23. To win 3, to win 1, to win 2, to even compete in a TT. You've got balls of steel. Mug. So for you to get an international license and line up on the start line and go around at 105, 110, whatever. You know, you've achieved a lot. So for me to be here at 23, you know, I don't know.
I can feel the passion, you know, see it in your eyes, the way you're talking at the moment, obviously all the wins, the 23 and a lot of special moments. What about the negatives, you know, starting off from scratch your first year with obviously Mick Lofthouse and other negatives as you've gone on, you've had to kind of overcome, not just from one year to the next, but at that year the same, to get on and ride and be competitive.
Yeah, first year was 96 it was pretty heavy going, really, in a lot of ways. I wanted to do the TT, but when I was like on my own racing with my dad and my nana was involved, my mum was involved, and have you got, you know, spare this, spare that, and we just rustled it all together. I wanted to do the TT, but could never really. I didn't want to go half-heartedly. In 96, I rode for Paul Bird. I had a new bike, you know, some new parts in it. So I went to Northwest 200, and going from 13th, 14th, 15th place to be in the leading group, I was like, that's Joey Dunlop there, you know. And then I was like, wow. I spent more time looking at the name on his back than looking where I'm going. So I thought, oh, yellow helmet, Joey, whoa, he's my hero. And, you know, we're right in this leading group. And I said to Birdie, I said, should we do TT? And that's when I made my decision at the Northwest 2 weeks before the TT. So we rung them up and said, can we do it? And give us a late entry. And, you know, I got 350 quid off the Mike Elwood Foundation and I got a free boat. And to me, that was everything. I don't need anything else. I'll sleep in my van, I'll sleep in the bus shelter. I'm not bothered as long as I'm there with my bike and I can go and do it.
No practice laps prior?
No, you know, rewinding back, I've watched the V for Victory videos, all these loads. I've sort of read about it. And I went down my teaser R125 at 17, went down my KO1S, did lap after lap after lap. So I sort of knew where I was, but, you know, I made a late decision to do it. And we did it going right, real bad week of practice with weather. It was a real shocking week and not getting any dry practice. And Friday morning, you know, I had to ride past Robert Holden, who was killed in front of me at going into Glen Helen. So, and it's the first time I'd sort of seen what it can do. You know, it's a mess. It was a mess. You know, it wasn't pretty. And then same lap, Mick got killed at Milltown. I come back and, you know, I said, forget it. I'm not doing it. It's not for me. This. And Mick's dad, Arthur, he was a bit of a boy. He's not with us anymore, but he's like, oh, get on that effing bike and get on with it. And I did, you know, sun come out. I finished 15th, bronze replica, Joey won the race and chuffed to bits, you know. I only took one bike in 96. Didn't have a full stable of bikes and all. I just went in one bike, did the 250 race. Job's a dream. Started the job.
So if he'd have not said something, would you have walked off? Would you have turned away and jumped on
Possibly. Yeah, I've had a few moments like that. When David Jeffries was killed in 2003 as well, that was heavy going.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, again, I was the first man on the scene, and I won't go into details, but obviously you can imagine. You know, there was a lot of us parked up there, and Big H carried me off. Fireman, you see. Put me in this big... I was stood there looking, thinking... Stood there, just sat on that. I was on the factory Monster Mob Ducati, and I can remember it now. The bike was like just running, and I was like, you know, just this wall of mess. And you know, H pulled up, switched it off, and just carried me off and put me in a garden up the road. And I was like, you know, helicopter came, etc. But like Pauline Jeffries, who again's not with us anymore, David's mother, she was like, get on that bloody bike. Again, you know, I said, I'm going, I'm done, I've had enough of this job. Get on that bloody bike. David want you on that bike. So I remember it was morning after, it was a 5 o'clock practice. They don't do that anymore. So I was out on the 400 and a 600 in the morning again. Hair on fire, bloody flying around the track. Everything's great again, you know, selfishly again, you know.
Is it that quick? And you I guess you must have experienced it too, Steve. The moment you get back on your bike, you're not focused on that anymore. I remember talking to Lee Johnson when Dan Neen got killed, and we were sat in his motorhome, and he's like, I've known that guy for this long, and I've just in about 10 minutes I'm going to be going down that road, and is that the way it is? You kind of park it to one side and...
Yeah, I think you kind of park it up in part of your head to a certain degree, and it's something I'm not very proud of, you know, because you can kind of put it to one side in the back of your head and carry on with the job in hand, you know, and you don't really start thinking about it either until the event's finished, fortunately, otherwise you wouldn't be able to do it. And it's, again, like I said, it's nothing I'm particularly proud of, but I think that's what you have to do to go for it. Man, and John, you've experienced more than I have. I've seen some pretty horrible stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, I think, again, I just remember Dave just happy, as a big, numb, fucking lovable bloke, gifted sort of guy,
Big gaff lad, full of fun.
Yeah, just, turn his hand at anything, bit of trouser riding, bit of, but, Dave didn't suffer, it was gone, he was just in a split second, he was gone. And every time I go through Crosby, every single lap I do, I always ask him to look after me. Every time I go through Kurt Michael, I ask Gus Scott to look after me. And every time I go through Milltown, I ask Mick to look after me. And it's just, I'm not a religious person. I don't know if they're up there looking down. I haven't a clue. I don't know where you go when you're gone. But it just puts my mind at rest. It's just a little thing I do. And I just mutter it under my breath on the bike, going through 180 miles an hour. Look after me, Dave, every lap. And it's a hard one. There's a few things that they do. It does flash back times. Sometimes you shut your eyes and you see things, and I just try and turn away from it and look at the good things. Yeah, the good things have been epic. Mm-hmm. Not just for me. From Hickey's 135 lap, I was there injured. I was at Umbrail in the garden, and as he started his last lap, then Harrison and that were at it, and I was like, you're just about to see something here that's going to be off the screen. It's going to be epic. And I knew where they were on the track, and I'm sat there with them thinking, they're coming through there. And there's a helicopter coming, and some guy was talking to me, and he's like, ram, ram, ram. I just, fucking shut up. You're just about to witness something off, history here. I was just like, you're here to watch the racing, you know what I mean? I was welded to my radio. And even I'm a fan, you know what I mean? I'm like, wow, he's just going to... And they come through. I was like, blew me away, man. I was like, wow. So what's happened there is, I know we've lost people, but when it's good, there is nothing like it.
No.
And just going about how do you feel when you cross the line, I've been stood in the winner's enclosure and I've looked across and James Hillier's bawling his eyes out, I see. He just said, we shouldn't be doing that. We should not be doing that. It's just, everything's just draining out of you because, you've done 67, I don't know how many laps you do, a lot of laps.
Yeah.
Effort, the physical, the mental stress, the pressure, everything else. And, to stand on the podium in the senior and see, he's a bit of a softie, you know what I mean? I build it up a lot, me.
Yeah.
He let it all go. I was like, wow, you'd never see that anywhere in the world. Nowhere in the world.
So what do you think about there's been people within the industry saying the TT should be stopped. Now, obviously, we've had a break and everyone wants it back. Riders, mechanics, people that are involved in it clearly want it to go on. And kind of you're like a bit of a figurehead when it comes to that you want, we never want to see it stop, right?
Yeah, there's a very small minority that will always say that. And people should be free to give their own opinion. But fortunately, the majority understand what a great spectacle it is and know that everybody competing are doing it off their own backs and there because they want to win.
Yeah.
It's changed a little bit over the last... I had a tough time when Dave got killed in 03 and 05 Gus got killed, and it were getting a kicking in the shins, the old TT.
Yeah.
Paul Phillips got involved, and I said that, whenever any journalist talks to me negative about it, I just won't answer him. Mm-hmm. Just like, well, I don't want to discuss it. Let's talk about the great time. The Aylwoods and the Jeff Dukes and the history and when it started and what it's been. It's unbelievable.
And what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah. We know that you can get injured and worse, but there is one or two maybe. But like I say, I think as a team, as an organisation, and the riders, we've successfully steered them away from talking negatively about it. I don't want to go into, can't go into massive detail. Don't go if you don't want to go. Throttle goes both ways, blah, blah. There's loads of ways of looking at it. But, it's just still so raw, still so original. It's still nowhere,
But like you say, you experience those lows, but there's, like you said, there's so many highs. Like one of those highs for you probably was breaking that 130 mile an hour.
2007, 2007, 100th TT in the senior. It only happened once, and it only happened one lap by one rider, which was me, which always not sounding a cock because I don't want to sound big-headed, but it just makes it sweeter.
Yeah.
You know, nobody else got it.
It was my first year. I was a newcomer that year, and I just thought, wow.
Yeah. How did it feel then? Like you say,
It
you're
just
the only
felt
person that did it.
absolutely mint. Absolutely mint. My bike was great.
As good as a win?
No.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. No. It was a weird experience, and a bit like the 132 when you were commentating, and you could hear you. I was like, shut up, because I just still wanted to concentrate on what I was doing. I did that first 132.7, you know. But the 130, obviously, it's a milestone, and I came into the pits and I was just concentrating on what I'm doing, and it has been done. It has been. I could hear all the commentary. I was like, oh, you know. Everybody, and that free was something I'll never ever forget, because everybody waved me round on lap 3. To the fans, to them it probably meant more than the win, because I'd seen something.
Yeah.
But I know I don't get my winner. If I broke down on lap 6, I'd have been gutted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did 131.578 in 2009, and the chain snapped. You know, I was absolutely spewing because, and you know what? One of the reasons why I was spewing is because the track was mint, my bike was mint. I was really, really enjoying riding the bike, and you don't get many chances to do it. I was like, fuck, you know, gutted. Pleased for Steve, obviously won the race.
It made a nice necklace.
Hey, listen, you have to win them. Take that away from you, mate. It was just. But so, like the 130, going back to that 130, yeah, lovely. And you know, there's little snippets that I take out of it. Was that third lap was unbelievable. Everybody, programs waving. It was like some off. You know, I did it when Steve Hislop did the first 120.
Yeah.
You know, I was on the bank at Renkel and my feet over the bloody grass bank, which you can't do anymore. Them days are gone. And it was really special. But I had to keep, you know, I had to hit the apex. I had to finish the race. I wanted to finish the race 100%. I slowed down a little bit. Didn't chase the bike. But when I came into the winner's enclosure, Murray Walker was there in tears.
Really?
Like, what? Are you all right, Murray? So I'd like done a few cuddles family. I thought Murray was just in the corner on his own. You know, he said a little piece to camera, and then he was there. I said, "Are you all right, Murray?" I said, he said, "I never ever thought I'd ever witness that." He said, "I witnessed the first 80, 90, 100 mile laps. I never thought I'd ever witness a 130." So that was really special. It's quite a cool moment, you know.
Yeah, big time.
You also, I've been friends with Murray right to the end, you know. I got some lovely emails off him here, but really, really, I'm my grammar's rubbish, so when I write emails, it's all spelled wrong and everything. But there's no big words in there. It's and then and what and like. Well, I've got some lovely. Yeah, it is. I do put A up a lot. A up, lad, and all that. But like, I've got some emails off Murray, and it's just super written. You know, about when I rode and did some races after 07, and obviously I kept in contact with him, and he would always email me back, so I've got them all saved, but, you know, it's just, yeah, just a diamond, wasn't he? You know, just a diamond sort of fella, but, yeah, there's been loads of little moments like that, but that bike was awesome. My 06 and 7 bike, bike's a bit triggers broom, another engine in and different wheels and bits and bobs, but the 06 and 7 bike was fantastic bike. Fantastic bike. I did the double 6 and 7.
Yeah.
I won a couple of Northwest on it, and I just adored the bike. I adored it, and that's in the house at home that lives on.
I was just going to say, have you got that?
Yeah. That, I mean, I have to walk past it every day of my life, and I just think that contributed to a lot to the house. That bike, a couple of wins on that. I've got my Vimto bike under the stairs at home, and they're my wife's 2 favourite bikes and things. So first 130 win. So they're like epic moments through.
I mean, we could literally go through every single race and every single practice with John, really. Can I move it forward to 2013? 2013, you had the special Joey Dunlop livery. Now, Joey, as you've said earlier in it, Joey is an idol, and to be able to race with him must have been special. To stand on the podium must have been special. For Honda to give you his helmet, his bike, basically give him to you.
Yeah, full replica of the 2000 Superbike win.
Yeah.
You know, the Honda colours and the leathers and the helmet. And we had to have the blessing of the family, Linda, the wife, and it was a bit weird. I in a lot of ways, I thought maybe Michael should have done it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I took it on, and I got a bit stressed with it all a little bit. Really, I got a bit panicking about it, a bit difficult to try and take it all in, you know. It was, nobody saw the bike, nobody saw the leathers or anything until we went to the grid. And it looked beautiful, it looked stunning, it looked amazing,
did.
you know, it was epic. But I was a bit flustered, you know, set off the line, had a real sort of poor first lap, average second lap, speeding in the bloody pits, you know, ridiculous, you know, speeding in the pits, lost 30 seconds, I think. I was like reading my pit board, I was like, I'm P4, and I was like, I'm in front of, I'd caught Cameron Donald, number 2. I was like, that's not right, it's not right. And penny dropped. I thought I must have been speeding in the pits. Then in the end, I settled down in the last lap and brought the outright lap record, 131.6 something, which was a nice little touch. And I got on the podium, thankfully. Otherwise, I would have thought I hadn't done it any justice whatsoever. Mm-hmm. But the other nice thing was the Dunlop won the race. So, you know, Michael did win it, and you know, he was flying, and fair play to the kid. I enjoyed working with Michael that year in 2013 on the Legends thing. He was all right. He's a good kid, you know, and I speak to Michael a lot, and you know, a lot of people think he's a bit difficult and a sort of fickle sort of character, but he's a good boy at heart, really. But yeah, he won the race, to flick the old colours on, and you know, my leathers are at home, proud of place. I got the flyers on as they finished. My helmet's there with the flyers on. I never took it off my head and never wore it ever since. Just in my collection of leather.
I wonder which young TT rider will be sporting the John McGuinness replica Vimto at some point in the future. Then
good colour, blue and pink. Good colour.
I love that. That was amazing. That bike.
Nice.
Yeah, the white Mugen job's difficult. It always makes you look fat, doesn't it? With white leathers on, so always look to chunky in the old Mugen job.
Hey, it even did me. I went up Goodwood at the festival and had to use Lee Johnson's RST leathers and flipping. You know, he's diddy man, isn't he?
They'll fit you like a condom, then, didn't they?
Oh yeah, I was safe.
Yeah, I'd love to stand on the start line. Well, I hope I do stand on the start line and watch somebody go off in McGuinness colours. You know, sadly Joey wasn't with us, but you know, his family were there. So we nicked onto the podium, but you know, I just big shoes to fill. You know, he was God, and he's still the greatest. And you know, people say that now, and you know, if you get to 26 wins, you'll be the same. Well, no, I won't. You know, I never won any Irish small road races, any of them small skerries. There were millions of them: Cookstown, Tandragees, Temples. There was Carradores. There were heaps of races like that in Ireland. I've never done any of them, and I certainly have not won 5 World Formula 1 titles like Joey did. You know, he beat Merkel, he beat Rob Mack, he beat all the boys, all the top when Superbike first come out. Doug Poland, he beat all them guys. So he was, you know, he could turn his hand to anything when he wanted to. Yeah. Obviously, you know, and again, at the time when he won his 3 in 2000, he jumped off the SP1, which, to be fair, was a bit of a turd, really. It was hard work to ride, I tell you. It wasn't the best thing in the world. You know, he got the factory, and rightly so, and he delivered. But they jumped on a 125 two-stroke and won. Yeah. I couldn't jump off my Superbike, jump on a 125 and win. And then when he beat me in the 250 race, he beat me hands down. And I was smart-ass, you know, British champion, 250 lap record holder. He was number 3, I was number 4. I thought, I'm going to have the old boy. Never saw which way he went. I got my ass handed to me there a little bit. I respected him even more. You know, a couple of weeks later, it was in a blink of an eye, we've lost him. But what an epic career, you know.
Mm-hmm. I mean, technically, if he's God, that technically makes you Jesus. If you think about it.
I haven't got a beard, though. Yeah, I don't know.
Jesus MBE McGuinness.
Middle name. Change my name, middle name to Jesus. No, I'm just a bricky, mate.
All right, let's move forward. 2022. It's going to be your 100th TT start. That is again, we seem to have been talking about these milestones throughout this. You know, everything's a tribute or a milestone, but that is 100 TT starts.
Yeah, I don't know how many. I think, has Ian Locker done 100? I'm not sure how many. That Dave Madsen Migdal done 100 starts, hasn't he?
He has, yeah.
Manx fella. So respect to him, you know, kudos to him.
Will it be emotional?
I don't know. Probably deep down, but, you know, I don't know. I get emotional away from it all a little bit. I just try and, like I say, boil it all up a little bit, but, you know, I want a gold-plated Honda and I want gold leathers and a glitter helmet. I want to go full.
There we go. I think you should.
But I don't know. You know, it's just fabulous, isn't it? You know, It's like amazing. You know, when I bust my leg, me and Ewan was talking about, we're just trying to work out how many miles we'd done, because it was like Rossi had said something. He'd been around the world on a doing MotoGP. I thought, I'll just work this out. I'm like, I've been around the world twice, around the TT.
Really?
50. We worked it out, nearly 50,000 miles-ish, maybe a bit more, 52,000 miles around the Isle of Man.
Blimey now.
It's a long way, isn't it?
Flat out as well. That's just not cruising, is it?
Single, 400, Ducati, Yamaha, Honda. It's amazing. Pattern, classic job.
So saying that, does that give you a kind of a little bit of a lift or a step forward going back TT 2022 when everybody's missed 2 years of action and you've got more experience?
This question's been floating around a little bit, and it's a good one. And to be honest, I'd like to think it
That's
would.
That's not putting pressure on you, mate.
No,
obviously,
I'd like to think
sense.
it would probably give me an advantage. I mean, selfishly, I'm like, sort of hope it rains Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. we can only get out Thursday, and the race is Saturday, and won't be much good.
Could well happen.
Yeah, well, this is what I'm saying. This is what I've said to a lot of people. And like Glenn Irwin, my teammate, you know, he's got it all figured out. You know, I said there's a lot more curveballs about to get thrown at you. But yeah, I mean, I'll tell you what. I mean, I'm sat, as long as my arse is pointing to the ground on this chair right now, you wait until that flag drops. You know, Harrison's and Hickeys and them boys and Hutches and Dunlops, they'd be right into 130s. 2 nights in, there'd be 130s, rattling them out left, right, centre, because everybody's on it. They are on it now. There's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere, you know, you can't feed yourself in and go steady. It's bang, 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 and they'll be rattling the laps out. And, you know, but yeah, it's going to be difficult.
I've always said, though, anything can happen, you know. And it's funny because looking in from the outside, and people probably aren't really as genned up on the Isle of Man TT races, maybe they're into short circuits, and you look at the stats, you know, Hickey's only been winning for 2 years. It's been 2 years off and so on. It's a very short time since it was Michael Dunlop and Ian Hutchinson and nobody else really threatening. You know, things turn around very, very quickly. And that's not putting the boys down or wishing anybody any bad luck in the slightest, but you just never know what's on the horizon, or if one of the old campaigners can take it back.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. You know, I sit there and I write crap down. I sit in my office and I write stuff down. I think, well, I did 132.7 slowing down for the pits in 2015. If that was a fast lap, a flying lap, when Hickey did his on a flying lap and they did theirs on a flying lap, if his mine was a flying lap, it'd probably be into mid to late 133. So I'm like, I'm not that far away. So I'm just trying to sort of figure it all out and just sort of channel where I think I'm going to be, which is where I should be if it all comes together. So anything, like you say, you know, you could topple off at a BSB round Brady Collarbone and miss a TT. Not that I wish that on anybody, but you get there on the first, it rains on the first night, Monday comes along and, you know, well, it's damp through Glen Ellen and damp at Sulby, so Gary the Clark of course says, I know when you're out on your superbikes tonight, you're out on your 600s only, and you know, this is the things that has happened, and you've been there, you know. So I'm thinking, just trying to, I want it to be obviously sunshine, everybody flying around, ripping around the island, all safe and good, but anything can happen, like you said, anything can happen. So I'll just, like you say, I know my way around. I don't take any of it for granted. I don't think to myself, I've got this place figured out, because it will bite you in a breath. You know, there's a lot of new things that I've got to understand. You know, going in forward with this new Fireblade. Last time I raced, I had throttle cables. You know, now I'm fly by wire, auto blippers, different engine braking system. There's so much. Even though I've got tons of experience with a lot of things, I haven't got a lot of experience with the new, you know, electronics with bikes. So there's still a few boxes to tick for me. That's where the testing will come in, but it's not going to be easy. And you know, not that that's the right way or the wrong way to go to TT, but you know, that's where it's all going. So I have a little bit of learning to do myself.
I bet Glenn Irwin is rubbing his hands together though, having John as a teammate. Are you going to help him?
Of course I am. Yeah, I'll help anybody.
Yeah, but are you going to help him?
Yes, no. I will do. I will do at the start. It's very difficult. Again, I've thought long and hard about it.
Yeah.
And do you know what? I was a real big part of Gus Scott doing his first TT. I mean, 2005. 40-year-old at the time, tons of experience, lots of journalism work. I loved him to bits. He was a real good mate of mine from Kendal, near where I live, and did nothing wrong. And a marshal walked out in front of him, and they both got killed. So I felt super responsible for that. And when I was at Gus's funeral, I've never had that feeling where somebody's looking at you. His parents were looking at me, and I'll never forget it. It's like, I don't know how to put it into words, but I felt responsible for it, and I think they not blamed me. I might be barking up the wrong tree, but in my head,
That's how you felt.
Yeah.
So Gus was he worked at Performance Bikes magazine, didn't he? And he was a good racer.
He was a good rider,
right,
good racer. You know, he was my teammate 03, I think, in Macau. You know, we both rode Supersport bikes there, and he was a good and a massive road race fan. Massive, loved it to pieces. Yeah, he really, and a good lad. You know, probably one of the better journalist riders. You know.
Yeah.
A lot of journalists, you know, they couldn't ride the way out of everybody.
You'll be careful.
And a real character as well.
But you can respect him because he was a good racer, and when he wrote something, he wrote a different style of writing, which was funny. It was funny, and I just enjoyed his company. And like I say, it was just, and I was on the podium. I won the race, and I got down. I got told that. I was like, what? So Glenn, you know, going back to Glenn, you know, I a lot of respect for the kid. He wants to do it for the right reason. He's super doing his own work. He cannot do any more than that. You know, he can't do any more than, he knows his way around. Well, he knows it's a left and he knows it's a right.
Yeah.
I'll tell you exactly what John will do, because he did the same with me when I was a teammate. John won't say an awful lot to him unless he thinks he's getting out of line or offline or seriously, or worried about his, you know, the safety side, and then he'll fill him in with a bit of information, which he kindly did with me as well.
Competitive though, isn't he? I guess that's the same you'd be for everybody.
You can take the advice sometimes, or you don't have to, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, there's only one fool in life, and that's the one that doesn't listen.
Hello.
Well,
it's profound.
Your crash at Northwest. If I could have clipped you around the ear, you were a bit injured at the time, but I thought, you prick, you shouldn't have done that. And you know it, don't you?
What happened, John?
No, not really. For the wrong. I was never worried about qualifying really ever, because, you know, it's all about and I had a bit of a beam in bonnet about wanting to be fastest in qualifying, and I was already fastest on Tuesday night. Went out Thursday night, and the weather was kind of the same really as Tuesday night, a little bit iffy and not quite. Luckily at the TT it never really cracks off when the weather's like that, but anyway, I pushed too hard in the conditions and paid a penalty. Yeah,
right.
Could have been avoided.
However, I was still fastest.
How could it have been avoided? Just by not pushing as hard?
Oh, the debrief. We had a debrief at the start, didn't it? And Ghosty's like, well, if you get out first, it's going to rain later on. If you get a lap in earlier, I'm like, wait, Steve, you're fast as Tuesday. Tuesday night's time will stand. And you went off like a loony and went up the road. It could have been the end interview, which is a bit frustrating. Justifying it now.
I did a slow lap and looked, and I thought, do you know what? It's the same as Tuesday. And I pushed. And it was the wrong decision, 100%.
Right. So no one else pushed?
No, I could have gone faster. It wasn't a brilliant lap.
Now, going back to Glenn, honestly, when I did it, there was no social media, there's no, you know, and nobody cared, but in your own group you cared, in your own environment, but like, you know, it's everywhere until you read it, and, you know, these podcasts we're doing, I never did podcasts when I was being a newcomer, but, you know, he sent me a picture the other day of going into the gooseneck, you know, the left and the right, and then left before the gooseneck, you know, I said, you're going to the gooseneck there. Just, I don't know if he's trying to catch me out or whatever. Like, I've done a lap or two, I know where that is. But I'm just saying, like, I just sent him some information, or just watch it through there. It's a bit vague because it's resurfaced. You know, like, it just always feels on the left, doesn't it? You don't get any feedback through your bike, do you? I said, you know, on the right, you know, be patient on the way and get a good drive up the hill. Oh, thanks, he says. Thanks a lot. So, you know, they're so different to me as well in a lot of ways. I'm old school. He's, you know, he trains, he's focused, he's BSB top rider, and I'm a bit lazy, a bit lackadaisy. Been there, done it all, but you just got to be patient. He'll become 100%. Cream comes to the top of everything. When you went, you won too, because you've got the main ingredients to start with. You know, it's hard to put speed into somebody if they haven't got it.
Yeah.
Hickey went, even Brooks went.
Yep.
And very, very fast. Hickey's gone really, really fast. You know, they do make it, and you I'll just go just a little story about Josh Brooks. When I was with his teammate at Norton, he was riding and I wasn't because I still wasn't fit enough. I did a lap with him in the car and I was looking at him. He's not listening to me. I'm going, and I said, "You all right?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Don't take it the wrong way, John." He said, "I just want to just go and learn it my way."
Mm-hmm.
I thought, respect.
Yeah.
I thought I respected that. Anyone that's been round, that Speedy's been round, he knows what he's doing. I can't. You don't get a handbook to do the TT. Somebody doesn't come up and say, "This is how you do it."
There you go. Yeah.
You've got to steer your own ship, and you've got to find your own style and the way you want to do it. And Glenn's got to find that.
Mm-hmm.
And first year or two, you're vulnerable. It's as simple as that. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna have a few moments. You think, "Fuck, that was close," and you commit yourself sometimes. And that's when you can't be on the bike with them.
Yeah.
You can't come away from that. You're gonna have a few scares and scrapes and bumps along the way, and then when all the pennies line up and all the penny drops, he will be 100% a TT winner, I'm sure.
From my memory, you've only had one tip off at the TT, at the classic TT on the pattern, as far as I can remember. Luckily, obviously you're super safe anyway. You really are. But what's been your biggest moment throughout your TT?
Do you know what? I went to 2005 production race. It was super stock 1,000 race on a Yamaha. I was fastest in practice, and I'm sort of right up for it. And I went into the left at Crosby where we lost Dave, and I lost the front into there. I lost the front. And honestly, I'd lost the front. I put my foot down. It sort of took the sole of my boot off. And I just got out of the throttle. And normally, if you have a moment or whatever, you sort of back at it and you blank it immediately. But I couldn't get it out of my head. I couldn't get it out of my head at all. I don't know what happened. Because it's so unusual for it to happen there. So I pulled out of the race. And... I don't know whether the front tyre might have deflated or something, but it just, it's like if you have a moment somewhere, a slide, you predict it because you're loading at the rear, it's spinning or whatever. It's all little bits where you have moments, but it's when it's in the place where you have a moment where you don't expect it, they're the ones where you jump out your skin. I had a big lock-to-lock tank slapper on a 600 through Glen Trammin in 2005 practice as well. That was bad. I was a passenger. It was just bouncing off the lock stops. And then everybody's like, "Oh, yeah, just accelerate through it." And that, no chance. I was an absolute passenger.
I had the same. Gorsley. Yeah. Lost the front, Gorsley. And I was waiting for the bang. It was late and just nothing, not violent, nothing, just lost. It's just starting to tuck and it's going down. And I kind of rolled, so it loaded the front and it sat back up and away I went. And that wasn't because I'd really tried to do that. It's just a natural reaction, that was all.
Fast right-hander, Gorsley, right?
Yeah, you're not hanging about there.
No.
It's 170 mile an hour, fifth gear. Flat on a 600, yeah, it's...
Really?
Yeah, they're the ones, yeah. It's...
And no real reason for it, unless I was too close to the curb and just got a bit of lift. I don't know. Know.
Might not have had enough heat in the front or something. I don't know. It's the vague corners, isn't it? Because that's very, very smooth. And then where I nearly went down at Crosby's really, really smooth. It's funny with the bumps, you get loads of feedback, don't you? Bikes like that anyway. But then when the smooth bends,
you want to feel something.
Yeah. And then when you do, I put it out of my head straight away, but I couldn't at the time.
Yeah.
Just thought, something wrong. And just put the bike against the hedge and wait for another time, yeah. Yeah, that's when you sometimes you've got to know when to roll over.
Yeah.
Always be another time.
That's it. Well, there'll always be a time, but eventually, you'll hang your levers up and you'll move on. In terms of your legacy and what you're leaving behind at the TT, when you decide to do that, are you happy with that? If you were to walk away from it now, you'd be more than happy, right?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's been amazing. It's been absolutely unreal. It's just been every minute of it, every second of it. I wouldn't change anything that I've done around there. The machines I've ridden, the teams I've ridden for, the people my friends around me, my mechanics, the fun, the laughs, the jokes. They've just been, I don't know. That place just drew me in a long time ago.
Yeah.
It won't let go of me. It's like a bug in it. It's a disease, that place. But I just hope that eventually something does just go, right, John, you've had enough.
Yeah.
I want that Dicky Bird to say, right, hang your boots up, lad. But I'm not just ready just yet. But I can't keep going and going and going and going and going.
But it's not that you're not chasing a win. You're not chasing. Although you're competitive and you want to win, it's not that. Yeah, you're not there going right. I'm as soon as I get that next win, I'm done.
No,
you're just there because you enjoy it and you love it and you're competitive with it.
Just talking to one of the boys outside before we come in, I said, no, I don't want to say this is my last one.
Yeah,
because that's the one that bites you into it.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to don't come out of what I've always done, which is load the motorhome up, park my car straight, mow my grass, just get on the ferry, wash my camper when I get there, and just get into that rhythm system, with the team, gel with them, ride the bike, try and enjoy the best, the putting the helmet on and going around's the great bit.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on, a few bits chucked at you left, right and centre with some of the stuff that has to be done with riding for a big corporation and stuff, which sometimes is a bit frustrating, but you've got to take it on the chin. But the main bit is riding the bike and crossing the line and getting back on the ferry.
Yeah.
But I'll always stay involved. A lot of riders have not done, like Adrian Archibald and a few others, and Jim Moody and that, just completely, TT winners and good top riders are just, I'm not going back. I don't understand that. I think it's amazing. I just can't wait to be just that, fan as well. Again, just with a bag full of butties, load of beers and a radio.
Right, John, we could sit here talking all day long. Honestly, we really could. I got a few quick-fire questions I want to ask you. You can only answer one or the other through these quick-fire. There's no explanation, no description, okay? Ready?
Ready.
Lager or real ale?
Lager.
2-stroke or 4-stroke?
2-stroke.
Sweet or savoury?
Savoury.
Mike Hayward or Joey Dunlop?
Joey Dunlop.
Slicks or treaded tyres?
Slicks.
Super Sport or Super Stock?
Super Sport.
Carburetors or fuel injection?
Fuel injection.
Harrison or Hickman?
Hickman.
Morecambe or the Isle of Man?
Morecambe.
Right, you ready for this one? Pillion ride with Joey Dunlop or David Jeffries?
David Jeffries.
Last question. MBE or 27 TT wins?
27 TT wins.
Thanks, John.
Nice. Last question, John. I've heard you're a big fan of Strictly.
I am. I'm dancing on ice, yeah.
If they came knocking, would you?
I'd love to say yes, but I would be a total embarrassment because I'm about as flexible. I haven't got the answer for it, but
we're not looking at happy feet, are we?
I know. Do you know what though? I don't know what it is. I'm a softie. I am a softie.
Let's wrap this up. John, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. And hopefully we'll see you on... There's got to be a part
Strictly.
2, right?
Got to be.
Yeah, we'll see you on Strictly.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Pleasure. Cheers, guys.
Tell you what, Steve, that was an insightful and interesting. I'm a huge TT fan, motorcycle fan as it is. Getting to do this podcast with you is great. Getting to have people like John McGuinness in, 23 times TT winner, still going, still hungry for it, and you can still see the passion in his eyes. He's got a big year coming up this year.
I think he was actually welling up at one point, when we're talking about various things. But the thing with John, he's back with Honda. They've got more wins around the TT course than any other manufacturer. So which, of course, there's a little bit of pressure there. But John he'll lap that up without doubt. He really will. But nobody will put pressure on anybody than himself more than John McGuinness because the TT is the biggest thing in his life. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. Missing not just a couple of years because of COVID, through fitness, he's missed quite a serious amount of time around the TT course. So, however, everybody's missed it. They're not quite on form, shall we say, and he's going to be on the front foot because he's got so much experience, like we spoke about, all those miles circulating the TT course.
Exactly. Do you think going back to Honda, he's going to have any apprehension as to what happened in the past with him and Honda? Or do you think it's a clean slate, it's a brand new bike, he's just going to go there and give it the beans?
Yeah, 100% that. There'll be no issues whatsoever. John's been keeping himself busy. He's been racing British Championship in my Ducati series and doing a great job. And he's riding well, really well. So I do believe he could be podium potential.
Shall I put a fiver on him then?
Oh, flipping it. Now you're sticking the boat out.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is episode 2 of the podcast in the bag. If you've enjoyed it, make sure you hit that subscribe button and leave us a rating and a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. We have plenty more star-studded names from the world of the TT on the way in this series. And here's a little taste of what you can expect from our next guest, Michael Rutter.
Oh my God, I've been born to the Isle of Man with obviously my dad racing and watching him go off down there, and I must admit, it's a lot easier when you're sitting on the bike to someone who you know real well or family member sitting in that pit. You know, we've got the easy job.
That next episode will be out in 2 weeks' time, and don't forget, you can get all the latest TT news and features over at iomttraces.com. And be sure to check us out on all the usual socials. We're at TT Racers Official. Thanks for listening.